Good morning. Good morning, everyone. For some of us who've been able to join us from different places, and we also have some of the coders at American Space here at American Space Mombasa, and I know some are joining from home. So I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all to this session of cybersecurity. Today is an introduction session, which is being held by Joab Bose, who is a cybersecurity expert. He's going to share with you, and then as in the next coming weeks, you'll also be able to learn different tools, different techniques you can use to stay safe or about cybersecurity. And remember, towards the end of the Coders at American session, the aim is to build a community of coders within the American spaces in Nakuru, Lamu, Mombasa, and Nairobi. So we hope that if you develop an interest in cybersecurity, you will be able to be part of a community of cybersecurity, passionate people. And also, we also look forward that you'll be able to develop solutions in cybersecurity. So without much wasting time, I would like to introduce our speaker, Joab. Please welcome.
Hey, Ruth. Thank you for the intro. My name is Joab Kose. Sorry for that. I major in cybersecurity. I do SOC, I do incident response, I play with malware, I do malware analysis. I'm in blue and purple team. And I'm so happy to take you guys through this introduction session in cybersecurity, working with Ruth and American Spaces. So in this session, we will do like an introduction session. We'll go through what is cybersecurity, what is the need of people being in cybersecurity, the challenges being faced, the risks, threats, and some of the sectors which are basically being affected by cybersecurity. So in this session, we'll see like how cybersecurity impacts like healthcare, security, democracy, and other sectors. I want you guys to take this as like a very basic introduction.
Joab.
Yep.
Sorry to cut you short. Maybe before you proceed, we have our American Space Coordinator here in Mombasa, Biasha. We can she can say hello and also share some more tips about the American space so that even the new participants will be able to know about the space. Welcome, Biasha.
Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. This is your host, Biasha Omarse, American Corner Mombasa Coordinator. I'm taking this opportunity to welcome you all to today's program on information technology.
Hello? Hi, Biasha.
Hi, Joab. Can I continue with the introduction?
Yeah, you're good.
Awesome. So we have ample books. We offer computers and free internet facilities, and we engage our audiences through engaging programs that are conducted here at the American Space Mombasa. Basically, we do youth engagement programs, youth empowerment program, and our core values are on education USA, We also do English learning programs. We also do alumni engagement programs, and we also do cultural programs. So I'm taking opportunity to all our viewers to engage and like our Facebook page, American Corner Mombasa. Kindly comment on our daily updates and be part and parcel of our daily programs and activities that are conducted via Facebook page live, and also we do in-person programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Biasha, for that intro, for introducing and letting us know about American Spaces in Mombasa specifically. Thank you for that intro. Should we proceed, Ruth?
Yes, you can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, back to where I left. This session will be like the basic introduction to cybersecurity. I did say we're going to be looking at the impact of cybersecurity on healthcare, on security, on democracy and economy. The goal of this session is to ignite the interest in you, so that if you want to join and pursue your career in cybersecurity, and see how we can help you go through that. Having said that, let's get started. So why cybersecurity? Why all this talk about of the recent we hear people, everything is about cybersecurity. The reason is we are living in a time where most of our lives are kind of determined by technology. Most of the things we do, communication, transportation, even food, agriculture, most of the things are technology driven. And when it comes to technology, we have bad technology, we have good technology. Most of the times the technology is built with good intentions, but the same technology could be used by bad guys and make it bad. So we, from financial markets, our elections, our families, healthcare, all these things are integrated in technology. So how does cybersecurity comes in? Well, in a big way, it comes in a very big way, because so long as anything is connected and connected to the public internet, or even if it's offline, it's still a technology. It is exposed to cyber attack. It could be any form of attack. It could be inside attack. It could be remote attack. And that's the reason why we have the need to provide that sort of security to protect all these things that we use, the technology, how we communicate, how we travel, how we buy things online, even offline, how the water we drink, the food we eat, all these things in one way or another are kind of linked to cybersecurity. But most people, when we talk of cybersecurity, they're it doesn't sound like a real thing, because we are used to the traditional sort of of security, where we use physical weapons, we're having security personnel, soldiers, and people like that. So cybersecurity has an impact on almost every aspect of our lives. So we will start with healthcare and see what is the impact of cybersecurity in healthcare. So when it comes to healthcare, we are talking, we have patients, we have the patient data, we have the information. If I was to go to the hospital today, I will go and provide, I'll provide my details and provide my name. I will give my date of birth. They will do testing, they will do blood tests, all these details, and then will be stored somewhere in the hospital's database. These are very sensitive information if leave the hospital and gets in the heads of somebody with a bad intention, they can be used against me. So if somebody knows where I live, somebody knows my blood type, somebody knows, I have allergies for certain food or like environment, that very sensitive information that should not be getting into the hands of somebody with a ill intention. And the way the healthcare systems are integrated right now, with these IoT devices, and most of them are connected either in a local network or like in public network. So we have like the scanners if you want to go for the X-ray scanners, these MRI scanners. All these devices are connected in one way or another. And one of the biggest threat that has been facing the healthcare sector in the recent years is like has to do with malware, mostly ransomware attack. We have seen several hospitals being under ransomware attacks, and people dying because the attackers lock everything, their devices, the machines, the equipments they use, their computers, and making them like useless, forcing the hospital to go offline back to paperwork. I want you to imagine like if somebody was in ICU with a gas mask, can't breathe, and then that machine is attacked and can't work. So we are risking the lives of patients in the hospitals. We are risking the information, the sensitive information of these patients. We are making the hospitals to stop their operation for that given period of time when the attack is taking place. And also the attackers always want something back in return, like they want some sort of money paid in ransom so that they can unlock all the attacked computers. So we see like there's a very big problem here. And how is this problem coming in? So traditionally, the healthcare system are designed in a way that allows sharing of information between hospitals or within that hospital in different departments. So this means like if one system is breached, they have a way to do like literal movement across all the systems in the hospital, and that put the entire hospital like in that region or that sharing and their system at risk. So this is a very big problem being faced today, and it's like people are struggling, trying to come up with like ways to protect healthcare system, because the way the healthcare system is designed, the approach that the cyber security is taking is different from like the traditional approaches that you will take when protecting banks or other assets. So yeah, that's like the impact of cybersecurity when it comes to healthcare. Another sector that we look that is the economy, and this is one sector that has been like hugely affected with cyber attacks across the globe. And we know like economy is driven by different factors, like the level of education, the skill sets of people in the country, the resources that the country has and how they use those resources. So these are some of the factors like that drive economy. So when we talk of critical infrastructure, we're talking like the energy sector. We're talking how is the country able to generate like the power and distribute that one across the country, electricity and things like that. We see like, for example, in Kenya we have KPLC, and from the production side they have to do like, they have to bring all these equipment to the final consumer in your house. And there's a lot going on between that. They have these smart grids, and in your house, maybe you have like that meter, like you just have to fill your tokens and stuff like that. So whenever you put tokens, they communicate with another sensor which controls the amount of electricity you get. All these are connected in a way. So if somebody is able to breach that, that means our electrical system, the energy system, is kind of compromised, and that affects the economy. The companies will stop, because the electricity is not working. There's so many things which will stop when there's an attack on the energy sector. Another sector in critical infrastructure is communication. How do we communicate? Like, when you take a phone, which service provider do you use? How do they traverse all their communication? Like, do they encrypt them? How, when you talk, like, how is that transmitted? Which platforms do you use to communicate? Whether you're sending emails, whether you're making phone calls, whether you're in social media, all these are exposed to attack in one way or another, and they drive the economy. So if there is no communication, then there's a way the economy is disrupted. We have financial services, which plays a big role in the economy. We have banks, giving loans, keeping money. All these services should be running like, all the time. So if there's a disruption, like maybe, let's say just 1 hour, that will have a very big impact on the economy. And of course, information technology, which is like, driving almost everything at this age. So we have, like in a place of work, you have all these equipments, like how you talk. Even right now, we are doing all these conference online. This is just like, part of the information technology. So if I can, like, have access, or like if I can't do what I'm doing right now, that means there's so many things which are being stopped. Like, there are people on the other side of the country which will not be able to get some of the services that we need if there is a breach in terms of information technology. We are looking at the food and agriculture. We are seeing, like, the digitization of the agricultural sector, people using, like, these smart devices, IoT devices, to help with irrigation, used to help with, treatment of food and plantations, transportation from the farm to the factory. And even in the factory, they still need to use technology to help with all this process, So if there's a way all these processes involved in agriculture are impacted just for 1 hour, 1 day, or 1 week, you can feel the impact that has on the economy. Healthcare and public health. Right now, we have, like, there's a global pandemic with the coronavirus, and we see, a lot has, like, happening, and we are currently seeing some people coming up with ways to scam people with, like, these COVID things, like all these scams going on. And we know how, like, the virus has impacted, like, it's not just the countries, the world economy. So many countries are struggling right now because of this health care, situation that we are having at the moment. So you feel like, the role that cybersecurity has on the economy, and we are still talking about transportation. We have, like, the train SGR from Mombasa to Nairobi. There's a communication along that the rail, like, every station they have all these communication towers. So if that is cut, it means, like, the switching of train, the one coming and leaving, that will have an impact. if the train, let's say, stopped for like one day, if you say like the SGR won't leave Mombasa to Nairobi just one day, we see like, all the cargo from the port of Mombasa to other places in Kenya, that for that day, that won't happen because there's an interruption in transportation. People have to move from one place to another, whether it's flight. We have like these flight invaders which communicate like from the sky to the ground, So if that is compromised in one way or another, local flights, international flights, there's a way the economy is being impacted because we won't be able to transport our products, the exports, and do the imports. So that brings the picture, like, how this cybersecurity thing is impacting the economy. And we have like, water treatment and wastage system management. Big cities like Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, they have like this system, like, how you get your fresh water, how the sewage is being treated from your house to the main system. If that stops for a day or just like 1 hour, it's going to be a mess, and it won't be like, a good thing to have. And finally, we're looking at the government facilities. Like, the government is like the backbone of the economy in every country. So the way the governments are run, all government departments, like we have like, the Department of Defense, Department of Health, Department of Communication, Department of, all these departments and facilities need to communicate. They need to get information, and all of this, are all integrated in a technological way. So if there is a compromise in one of those, we see the impact that has on the economy. Finally, I want to look like, when it comes to corporate espionage. So we're talking of espionage. This is like, stealing of patent right. Like if somebody has a patent on a given thing, or like a product or innovation, and then somebody steals that, you can imagine like the amount you invest in your innovation, the time, the sacrifice, the financial like investment, or let's look like a research. So if you are doing a research on how to treat water, like, convert salty water into fresh water, and that takes you like 5, 4, or 6 years. And when you just like about to make a breakthrough, somebody steals all the research you made and implement that one before you, and then sell that product at a cheaper price to the people. You see like the impact that has, like, you invested a lot of money, a lot of time, and then somebody just comes, like, takes it easy through shortcut. So we are facing a lot of corporate espionage, like, globally. We have countries just measuring and stealing information from people who do research, and this is like, affects every sectors we have mentioned in critical infrastructure area. Like, in aviation, we see countries stealing, designs and plans and try to implement that one before the country that does the actual research and investment produce the product. And that has a very bad and big impact in that given, country's economy. Another sector like which is facing impact, like when it comes to cybersecurity, is democracy. And this is affecting, like, this is global. Like, I don't think there's any country which is like immune to this. We have seen this with small countries, underdeveloped countries, developing countries, and even developed countries, how, like, democracy can be impacted, like, influenced and interrupted, cybersecurity wise. So let's look for example, in 2016, we had this company by the name Cambridge Analytica. So this was like a statistic-based company. They used to help countries to make decisions based on, like, the analysis of data they collect from various sources. And then they went further and say like, okay, so if we have all this data, how can we use this data to help other countries, like, influence democracy? When we talk of democracy, we're talking about the will of people to be part of decision making in their countries, like, electoral process. And if that will is taken from you, then it's no longer democracy. So how did this work? So this company had, like, they had the brain, they had the technology, they had the will, the power, and all the resources they need. They had access to a pool, like, huge, like, big data. And we saw, like, in the UK, they determined the election, like when it came to the Brexit, and they had a very big influence on that. They were part of the 2016 election in the US, and they used that data to manipulate people, feed people with information on how to make decisions, like who to vote from. They were part of the election in Kenya 2017. Also, they influenced, like, people without even knowing. They were part of, there's a country somewhere in South America, Trinidad and Tobago. They were part of that. So you see, like, how all this affects democracy, and how is that even possible? Like, how does it work? How can cyber influence elections? So there are several ways. We will look at 4 of them. So changing the vote, this is like direct intrusion, like manipulation. You see, like, okay, these people are voting for this. Is there a way we can have, like, an implant in the system, or put some algorithm that changes vote from X to Y? That is like, direct engagement, like, you got the system. That's hacking. Another way is manipulating opinions that inform the vote. And this is exactly the role that Cambridge Analytica was doing. So what they do, they look at a given area. So let's say in Kenya, we have, like, several counties, and all these counties have different voting system, like people they support. So they will collect data, like, we provide data every day, like, and they had access to Facebook, they had access to these social media platforms, and they go with the regions and they say, okay, so in these regions, these people like seeing this kind of information, and then they will feed you with that information. They will feed you with the information they need until they change your mindset. They change the way you think, and they make you vote for, like, for somebody they think you need to vote for without even you knowing. They manipulate you in a way. They have, like, these, they do research, psychological research, and they implement all these things in their system so that they make you do what they want you to do. They control you in a way through feeding you with the information they need to feed you with. Another way the democracy is impacted, like, in elections, we have interfering with the act of voting. So this is like, actual voting. When people go, they can, bring, like, a total shutdown. The system are not working, or maybe this is just like interfering with the electoral process during the election, like, voting process. And finally, undermining the confidence, integrity of vote. So the reason why we go to vote is because we believe everyone has, in a democratic country, everyone has, like, the right to make decision, like, what they think is right, to vote for somebody they believe. So if somebody makes, start making you to doubt the electoral process, the integrity of the election, of that vote, you start, like, questioning, even if I vote, my vote won't count. So that they kind of, like, undermine the confidence you have in the voting process. And that has happened a lot. We have seen it, like, in so many countries happening. And the people, like, the countries, the people who are just, like, interested in interfering with other countries' election. They want to be part of, like, of that team that influence how people make decisions in other countries because they have their own interests in the countries like that they target. So yeah, that's like how cybersecurity has impact on democracy. So we have looked at healthcare, we have looked at the democracy, and the next area we're going to look at is security. So when we talk of security, like security is this is huge. This is like the backbone of every country. Every country, like the strength of a country, the economy of the country, first of all, is determined by the security. And this could be like, physical security or like digital security. So when we talk of security, I'm looking at this one in two, like, from two perspectives. So in terms of cybersecurity, like how it influences security of a country. So traditionally, like before the technology came in, we had like, this military kind of security. Countries had like strong borders. Like if somebody wanted to go to another country, they're like to go through protocols, like there were boundaries, there were lines of defense. If you wanted to send a mail or a letter, it had to go through like, all these checks and everything, screening. But with the advancement of technology, the cyberspace has provided like, like a platform. Like right now, you don't even need to travel to go to a given country or like, a given to cross the border. The internet provide that platform. So you can talk, you can send anything to somebody, in another country. And this is a good thing. As we did say, like technology has like, the bad side and the good side. But what is this in like the bad side of this, cyberspace giving this, opening doors for those ill intent people to do criminal activities. So let's say like from a personal level, like, when you talk of cyber threat and personal security. So we spend most of our time like, online, especially during like, the past one year during this global pandemic. And we communicate, we share like, with our loved ones, family, workmates, we work remotely most of the times. So we experience like a lot of cyber, blackmail, mailing on social media platforms like in Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. People are being blackmailed. People are telling you like, if you don't do this and this, we have your information, we will do this and that. People asking for money and stuff like that. We are seeing people, identity theft. And there are so many social media accounts with fake people. They take your profile picture, your name, and they create that, and people think that is you. So we are experiencing these threats like, identity theft. There's fraud when it comes like, banking fraud, money laundering. All these things are happening online. This is like, affecting somebody like, in a personal level. And I'm also looking at security on like, on a national level, like when it comes to national security. And one of the biggest threat we have right now in terms of cyber security that affects the national security, we have the nation state threat. So when we talk of nation state, there are countries, like big countries, developing countries, or developed countries. And like we had traditional, military, army, navy, air force, and that we are having cyber armies right now. And these countries are investing heavily on them. Like, they are very trained cyber personnel with skills, expertise. They train them on like, highest level. They give them all the resources they need. So whenever a given country like this country with the nation state threat actors have like, want to do something to another country, they don't need to go like physically like we used to see a long time ago through war. And I'll give an example of this. Back in 2007, there was like a struggle between Estonia. Estonia is a country somewhere in Europe. and Russia. And what happened? Estonia was hacked, and for the whole week, 7 days, that country, the government, services like banking, the internet, they're like a blackout. All these, you couldn't withdraw money, you couldn't do like online transaction, you couldn't buy things online. That just shows like how big this threat is when it comes to national security. The rumors are like, Russia was responsible for that. And another thing, so like with North Korea, they sometimes back Sony Pictures. This is a movie somewhere in Hollywood in the US. They made a movie, the name was like The Interview, and this movie depicted the North Korean president as like, they kind of like undermine him. They felt like that movie was depicting their president in a bad way. So they gave a warning. They told them like, if you release this movie, we will do something that you'll regret. And before the movie was released, North Korea hacked like Sony Pictures, and they stole everything. They released all the information, the personal information of the employees. They released all the movies which were still like, under production. It just shows you like how prepared like these nation state threats actors are very well prepared and ready to take any task that they're given. We're also facing national security, like, when it comes to critical infrastructure we looked at in the previous slide. So this looks like, this entails energy sector, transportation, aviation, agriculture, water and waste management. We are talking of chemical and, management, like, nuclear plants and everything. One example that comes to my mind when it comes to critical infrastructure, this was like back 2010, I think, in Iran, and their nuclear plant was attacked and overheat. The centrifugal equipment was targeted, and they experienced, like, if you guys ever heard of something like a malware by the name Stuxnet, that was a big thing. And this was like the first time that we had like a weaponized cyber attack on a country. And this just shows like how far, like, how big this threat on national security is. We have government, like governance, how the government is governed. People, sometimes other countries are not interested, like, with a given policy that a country has, or like some foreign policies that a country has. So they try to interfere with that to change it, or like, discredit it, or like, make people lose, like, question the integrity of that kind of governance. And we have seen this, like, globally in different countries. So cybersecurity plays like a very big role when it comes to security, both personal security and the national security of a given country and its citizen. And finally, the economy. We looked at the previous slide, how it is like, economy of a country is part, like, what builds the country, like everything that's going around, its people, activities, growth, development. All of them are, like, in one way or another, are driven by the economy of the country. So if economy is kind of like, breached or interfered with, the country is suffering, like, from national security issues. And finally, we want to look at how cybersecurity can be, how people can get into cybersecurity. As I did say, this is a very basic introduction to cybersecurity, and I just want to give an overview, like, what is the role of cybersecurity? How do we get people to get into cybersecurity? How is cybersecurity affecting our daily lives? There are so many resources that can help you get into cybersecurity. You don't need okay, you might go to a college to study cybersecurity, or you can start the way we start coding from our own interest and develop software and do something. So there's so many resources, and we're trying to put all these resources together, help those people who are interested in joining cybersecurity. This is something that we are currently working on. And with the American Space, Ruth and the team, we are working on coming up with something that will help those who are interested to join cybersecurity and take them through. Next week, we are looking a way to bring a talk that will help those who are interested to do like some security related projects, what you can do, which areas in cybersecurity you can do your project and get interest in that. So yeah, that's just like the introduction to this session. And I'm so happy to take questions, like anything that I can answer, anything that you have in your mind based on the presentation that I've made, or out of the scope, like outside the presentation, anything cybersecurity. I'm so happy to take questions like where I can. Ruth?
Oh, thank you so much, Joab. That's such a great presentation. Yeah, so we have some coders who are really part of the session today. We have others who've been able to come here to the American spaces, and we also have some of the young people who are passionate about coding are joining us through the Zoom session. So maybe we can start with the ones who are on Zoom, and then the participants who are here, if you have any questions regarding cybersecurity, Job will be able to answer. Can you hear me? I can see Mariam says she can't hear me. Can you hear me, Job?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think like you can unmute them right now because they're all muted. So if they have a question, they can't talk.
Oh, great. Let me do that. Oh, great. So fantastic. So anyone who has a question online, you can type it there. I can read it to Joab. And also, you can also unmute yourself to speak. And as you know, Joab has said, from next week, you are going to do some projects related to cybersecurity. And we know that at the end of these projects, we are going to reward innovative solutions that will come up with solutions in security, democracy, health. So it's very, very important if you are interested in cybersecurity. We are going to have different communities where people are interested in different skills after the training. So I really hope that you'll be able to maximize on these sessions and come up with innovative solutions. Yeah, so maybe anyone who has any question, please put it on the chat, or you can unmute yourself. So we'll start with the people who are attending the session from Zoom. Oh, wow. So Job, Teddy says that was quite a great presentation. I've just developed a very great interest in cybersecurity. That's great, Teddy. And you are in good safe hands. Job is a cybersecurity expert. This is something he studied. He even has a master's in cybersecurity. So if you feel that this is an area that you are really passionate, you are really interested, this is somewhere that you can always get support and mentorship from Job. And I know you'll come up with other innovative solutions. Let me see anyone else. Oh, great. So is from our session, the ones who we've managed to attend physical, if you have any question, you can ask. Any question? Was the session clear? Were you able to understand? Too many questions at the same time. Yeah, so anyone who learned something new today, one would like to share?
Somebody is asking a question. I think this is Steve Raby.
Okay.
if I get the name right. So Stevie is like, is there a software app that can be downloaded so far that can protect someone from threats on personal level? Okay, it depends which threats, and not just any software you download. Like most of these software you download are like, backdoors, rootkits, malware, stuff like that. So you don't just go to, it depends on like exactly what you want to protect on personal level. So whether you want to protect your data, like, having like encryption in your phone or your computer, you want to have like antivirus software. I don't know exactly what you're trying to protect, but there are so many resources, there's so many softwares, both open source and commercial, and yeah. So based on exactly what you want, they're there, but you don't just go for any software. You have to go like through, verified. Most of the open source software are safe because people do critics, people participate, people contribute to on them. I don't recommend like a free software, which is like, people, you just go to App Store and it's free and they tell you they will. Some of these are just like, they just take your data and they put you at even bigger risk than what you're trying to protect. So yeah. Miriam Abdallah, if I got the name right, is asking, would you help if anybody want to further their, I think she meant career in cybersecurity. Yeah, definitely. That's the reason why we have it. We are here. Like, we want to help those who want to get into cybersecurity, those who are into cybersecurity to want to go further. We will help you determine like which area you want to go into, which cybersecurity area is interested and what you want to do. So yeah, we will help with that. That's the reason why we're here, Miriam. Do we have any other question like outside the Zoom platform?
Yeah, anyone with a question from here? Yes. Oh, great. So what's the name? Ali is asking, how far has cybersecurity impacted the business sector?
The business sector. Okay, so, well, so we see like businesses, like, let's talk for the last 1 year. So most of the business have gone online, right? And the way we do marketing, the way we share information, we sell online, we have this e-commerce is a big thing. People doing transactions online, and you provide your credit card, like, to a platform you don't even know. And that without cybersecurity, like, your details like will be stolen, your credit card details, your transaction will be intercepted. So cybersecurity plays a big role. Like all these companies, like before they go fully online businesses, let's see like Amazon, we're talking this Kenyan e-commerce,
Jumia?
Jumia, they implement that security in their platform to make sure, like, all your transactions are safe, your account, like your personal data is stored in a place and encrypted, that they obey, like, the CIA triad, like, confidentiality, integrity, and they make it also available to you so that whenever you want to do the transaction, you're able. So yeah, cybersecurity impacts that. Like from the end user point of view, you might not realize that because you just go buy something and leave. But on the back end, there's a lot going on. There are so many, strategies and ways they implement to make sure, like, you are safe online when you do business online. So there's a very big impact on that. I don't know if that answers Ali's question.
Yeah, Ali says it answers the question very well.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then I see Emmanuel Wakula wants to ask You have raised your hand. Okay, I think you are on mute, Wafula. Let me see if I can mute you. I've asked you to unmute yourself. Oh, great.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry, today I had registered to attend
Okay.
physically, but as I stated, something came up, so I was unable.
We are glad to have you.
Now, Mr. Joab, that was a very nice presentation. I actually appreciate you for that. I'm equipped with some information as far as cyber security is concerned, and I look forward to enhancing that knowledge. Now, I just have a concern. You realize that nowadays there is this issue of online application. There is like, let's say Tala, Okash. There is also I don't know whether it's an application, but we call it an investment. They are called crypto huge. I even am a victim of them because I'm thinking they conned me, because I invested some money in it, but during withdrawal up to now, I'm still waiting for the withdrawal to be validated. So my question is this: how do we check the authenticity of these applications, or rather this online investment? How do we know this is genuine or this is not genuine? Is there any way we can identify? That is my question.
Okay, thank you very much, Emmanuel Wafula. That's a very good question. And I think like so many people are going through that. I think the first thing when it comes like, whenever you want to do something online or use like an online product that you're not quite like, used to, I will advise you like, get like the review, like you're not the first person using that service. There are people who have gone through that, people who have like, from that you can say, oh, this is like, I did this and this happened. So get to know the review, like the product before you use the product or like invest or put your money. There are so many things going right now, like with this crypto investment and stuff. I don't know, you say something like Tala? Yeah, I don't know what that is, but there's so many things going on today. I'll just like, just be like on the lookout, like, way, is this something that I really want to, what is the bad side? What is the good side? What is the possible thing that could happen? What could go wrong? I like asking questions, and I always ask like, negative question, the bad question. I look like from the bad thing, what could go wrong instead of what could go right. And based on that, you can say, okay, so this and that could go wrong. Am I still interested in this? Like, am I entitled to do this? The answer is always like, no, if your guys tell you not to. And ask people like if somebody has used such things. There's so many scams going on today. Even in M-Pesa, people will send you like, hey, do this and this, send money to win this. And right now there's so many scams to do with the vaccine, because like now the vaccines are coming out. People asking for money, people giving wrong information, and there's a lot going on online. Internet is a platform for everyone: bad people, good people, people who don't know what is happening, going on, people with the knowledge of what is happening. So before you do anything online, there's something called least privilege, like zero trust. Trust nothing until you get that trust for somebody online. And even if you see somebody online, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, somebody you haven't interacted with on a personal knowledge, just like rule of thumb, question them. Just put like, this person is a wrong person until they prove they're the right person. So we have like that thing, we call it zero trust. and I use it like most of the time. So if I don't know you, I meet you online, somebody will be like, hey, so and so, I saw you have this, this, and this, and this. I would like to, okay, that's like a question. I have question marks already, but I still give a room for them to, but I have questions. So why me? Why do you see me? Why do you want this? Why should I be like, your friend? Why? So many questions until they answer all these questions, they gain that trust. I give them zero trust until they gain my trust. So that's like, I think, how one way of you protecting yourself from all these online scams and things happening online. I don't know if that answers your question, Emmanuel. Awesome.
Oh, great. Yeah, so actually when Job, you're answering Emmanuel's question, some questions were ringing in my mind. Like assume like you are not into technology, you have like less skills in technology. Assume especially now in our setup, especially in Kenya in the rural setup, how do we even get this information, or what should we do to ensure that because now since everything is going online with the pandemic, what is maybe the best way we can even support our communities even from areas that they cannot even access internet, so that they cannot fall into cybersecurity attacks and threats.
That's okay. So that's one good thing, like rural areas where they can't like access information and internet. That's one layer of protection. Like they're not exposed to much of threats online. You see, that's just by the way. Another thing is like you guys like uh, techno girls are doing great work, and with the American space, I think this is to spread like the word, to reach out to the people, to share the skills, the knowledge you have with other people, and I think this is a very good initiative. Like from my perspective, I like doing that. So many people have this kind of like pride. You don't know something and you don't want to ask, and you want to learn through the mistakes you make. I think if I was somebody who is not sure of exactly what is happening, I wouldn't like do something stupid. I will ask. I will just swallow my pride. There's a lot of information on the internet, every information, but we always go for the wrong information. We go for what we want. So the internet gives you what you give it, like what you ask. Garbage in, garbage out. If you have a way of searching for relevant information or whatever like you're doing, you will get that one. If you don't have the skills and the knowledge to do that, please try to reach out to somebody who at least understands something before you become a victim of your own situation. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Actually, this session has been very, very resourceful. Yeah. Personally, I've also learned a lot, especially from the presentation that you've done. And I'm very excited and looking forward to next week and this Saturday sessions on Zoom. And I look forward to some of the solutions that we are going to develop using cybersecurity or using the knowledge. Yeah, so I think for now we don't have any questions, just to appreciate you for the good presentation. The session was very, very resourceful, and we look forward to having you on Saturday at 4 p.m. So we know that on Saturday 4 p.m. we always have these sessions where we combine Nairobi, Nakuru, Lamu, and Mombasa session virtual. Yeah, so today we decided to come to America's Space here in Mombasa so that we are able to know different resources like the laptops, the internet, the books, the activities, the programs that are always running at the American Space, so that you can participate. And also for some of us who've been reaching out to us saying they don't have laptops, they don't have internet, this is actually a very good resource. So we'll also be moving to different regions, especially in Lamu, Nakuru, and Nairobi, so that we can at least be able to meet and see each other for this. Like, I think we've carried this session for approximately 3 months, and we are very, very excited to come and meet other young coders in different sessions. So without much wasting time, thank you so much. We are going to end this session and we are going to proceed with quite like a very short session with the coders who are very passionate in coding and learning here in Mombasa to see how we can best continue learning and utilizing the resources. And so before I end, maybe I would like to invite Biasha, with our host and also the coordinator of the American Space, to say a vote of thanks.
Thanks, Lord, and good morning once again. How was the session today? So once to engage, yes. Let's interact. How was the session today? What did you learn? Very interesting. What did you learn? Before I was setting up, what? We should secure ourselves when dealing with what? Technology. Yes. She wants to engage and learn more. Please speak up.